This blonde bombshell mocked Dakota's fighting style,
Leg kicks. And I'm excited to see this striking exchange between the
but in the end, she was left on the wrong side of a devastating head kick.
Dakota turns early. Tie plum clinch. Oh, that's a big knee. Oh!
And this wasn't just any kick. It was the kind that gets replayed for years. The build-up to this bout had tension written all over it. The submission expert had branded Dakota one-dimensional and insisted that this was her time to shine. Those words lit a fire, and when the cage door closed, that confidence would be put to the ultimate test. We had ourselves an amateur women's flyweight title bout, with our fighter stepping into the red corner under the bright lights. Right from the opening seconds, she showed off her taekwondo flair. A snappy sidekick slicing through the air, followed almost instantly by a spinning heel kick that drew a reaction from the crowd. But the woman she'd mocked wasn't there to play the role of the highlight reel victim. She was locked in, ready to catch those kicks and punish them. I'd personally called a number of her fights at the IMAS events in Europe, so I knew this was not the type of fighter to overlook trash talk. She met that early flashiness with a clean, straight right down the pipe, followed by a sharp knee up the middle and a well-placed right hand. Now, Dakota wasn't known for hurling insults in the build-up to fights, but she was never short on self-belief. She carried herself with quiet confidence and the kind of chip on her shoulder that can make the difference when the fight gets gritty. "Bro, get me some ice for a second." Then, Digima silenced the doubters. In just a few rounds, Dakota reminded the world what greatness truly looks like, showing composure, variety, and ruthless execution. Inside the PFL, Shauna Bannon had built a reputation of her own. She wasn't just undefeated, she was feared. Known as the Blonde Dublin Monster, she was riding a 2-fight UFC win streak and had already put away Dakota's previous opponent, Carrie Isim, in dominant fashion. Isim herself was no pushover, a powerful wrestler with crisp punches, yet Bannon had broken her down. From gaining full mount to controlling fights with crushing pressure, Bannon had made a career out of imposing her will. Against Chanel Dyer, she showed pure brutality. And when she faced the Indian cyclone Pooja Tomar, she took a jaw-rattling kick, ate it, and still found a way to pull a reverse card, ending it with a submission. That's the kind of grit and adaptability that made her believe she could steamroll Dakota, despite Dakota only having her second pro fight. But that assumption would come back to haunt her. Over. Ladies and gentlemen, one more time. Those words echoed as the crowd remembered Dakota's history. As a teenager, fighting under the nickname Dangerous, Dicha had already become a storm in the brutal world of Muay Thai. Her punches were textbook perfect, sharp, compact, and destructive, and she carried knockout power that made anyone think twice about standing in front of her. Fight night arrived, and the atmosphere was electric. Long push kicks, long levers. Dicha wasted no time in showing an aggressive start. When she transitioned into MMA, it was clear right away she was special. In her debut, she dismantled Leonora Sylvia with strikes from every angle, and in the grappling exchanges, she refused to be bullied. The crowd had seen the kind of ferocity she brought, and she was ready to give them another blood and thunder performance. This time, it was for the UKFC flyweight title. Across from her stood the Irish storm goddess Shauna Bannon, Mama B. This was no walk in the park. Bannon had a history of sending opponents to the shadow realm, including PFL's Chanel Dyer in the amateurs. And she went on to put together a UFC record of 7 wins and just 1 loss. On February 29th, 2020, the arena in England was packed. Fans were on the edge of their seats, ready to see 2 future stars collide. Dakota stepped into the cage, and in a little moment of gamesmanship, she blew a kiss before starting what would become a striking masterclass. The fight was competitive right out the gate. Heavy shots traded, smart kicks landing, and neither woman willing to give an inch. The exchanges were clean, technical, but laced with bad intentions. Bannon tried to change things up by hunting for a takedown, but Dakota's physical strength was on full display. Even in tight clinches and grappling scrambles, she held her ground. Both fighters looked for trips and cage control, but when Dakota broke free, she made it count with heavy offense. The first round ended with Bannon saved by the horn. In the second, Dakota went after the Irish woman's legs, hacking away to damage her movement. Once she'd slowed her down, Dakota flipped the script, becoming the wrestling aggressor, dragging her foe around and framing perfectly for ground and pound. Even when Bannon's grappling experience came into play, Dakota had answers. Locking up arms, shutting down transitions, and landing strikes that made the crowd gasp. By the later rounds, Bannon was forced to try more unorthodox karate-style kicks, but Dakota kept closing distance. Knees to the body, hooks to the head, and pressure that just wouldn't stop. In the final round, they went for the finish, but Dakota had the moment of the fight, landing knees that nearly sent Bannon to the shadow realm. When it was all over, Dakota had dominated in every department, striking, wrestling, control, and claimed the UKFC title, the first championship of her MMA career. She celebrated with her mother, dancing with the crowd, her years of hard work finally rewarded. From that night forward, Dakota went on a 10-fight win streak, beating UFC-level fighters, and became the first British woman to win a world title. Today, she's seen as one of the best female fighters on the planet. Bannon, meanwhile, has continued her rise, now with a UFC record of 2 wins and 1 yet to be reached. But that UKFC clash wasn't the only defining test for Dakota early on. In her second MMA fight, she faced Manchester's own Levi Steedman, another strong wrestler with a dangerous submission game. This was more than just a fight. It was a local rivalry. Opening the bout, Dakota missed a big right hand but found success with knees to the body, paying no respect to her opponent's midsection. In the clinch, she was again the stronger athlete, choosing not to waste time holding position, but instead dealing immediate damage. The second round saw Steedman score a powerful double-leg slam, putting Dakota on her back. But Dakota battled to her feet and answered with a clean, thudding right hand. Heading into the third, both fighters made an unspoken agreement. It was time to throw down. Dakota's right hand dropped Steedman, followed by a rapid combination and a guillotine attempt. The bell was all that saved her opponent. In the end, Dakota earned a unanimous decision win, proving her resilience and showing that even when taken into deep waters, she could swim. Since those early days, her ground game has sharpened considerably. She's never been the type to trash talk. Her fists and knees do all the talking. Turning pro, she dispatched her first 5 opponents in dominant fashion, before making the jump to the PFL to face Europe's best. I've not really been doing anything this afternoon. Just went to get my hair done, and that is it. I've been chilling out and I'm ready to go. And from there, the rest is history. So I'll ask you, if these matchups happen today, would Dakota handle them with ease, or would they present real challenges? Drop your thoughts in the comments, and if you enjoyed this breakdown, don't forget to like, subscribe, and stay tuned for more.